click further and go into the media articles, you'll notice at the very top there's the 48 school shootings or school incidences, including, of course, Columbine and Red Lake and University of Northern Illinois and so forth. Then underneath that, if you scroll down, there's 17 cases where a person committed a criminal act while they were on an SSRI antidepressant, and these cases were won because the jury actually believed that the SSRI caused or, was responsible, totally or partially.
Yeah, there have been women kill their children, women kill their husbands, husbands kill their children.
There was a case, for example, of a Paula Pinkard in Louisiana. She shot to death her 11-year-old daughter. She was a housewife, and she loved her daughter dearly, and she shot her to death. And she was given probation because the doctors testified that the Prozac that she was taking caused her to kill her daughter in the sense that, see, this is the tricky part, that she was really a latent bipolar person. See, they don't want to say that the drug did it, so instead they said, oh, well, she had bipolar disorder, but nobody knew about it.
Yeah, let me break this down.
And the doctors even testify, let me tell you, this is what was important, that she probably never would have killed her daughter if she hadn't taken Prozac because her latent bipolar disorder would never have come forward. So we have, what are they saying? That we have thousands and millions of people in the country who are running around with some kind of latent mental illness, that if they take one of these drugs, they're going to act it out?
Yeah, that's like saying if somebody takes LSD sometimes, they may jump out of a 10-story window,
right,
that they, that they latently had suicidal tendencies. No, it was the drug whacked them out of their brain. Now, I'm going to throw out some key points here.
Yeah. See, with the illegal drugs, they can say that. Yes, the illegal drug caused them to jump out the window. But with these legal drugs, no, they don't want to say that. They want to say instead, oh, well, that person was suicidal and we just didn't know it. It was the disease. Or else they say, oh, well, that person really had a mental illness like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia or obsessive-compulsive disorder or something, and the drug brought that out in them.
Well, let me break this down. This is all quackery. Have you ever seen the video clip from 2 years ago in the Texas legislature where the head psychiatrist for the state advisor before the legislative board,
no,
he is saying that we put 68% of Texas foster children on psychotropics because they have bad gene pools. Now, even if you believe eugenics, there was no genetic test to say we put 68% of the kids on these drugs because they have bad gene pools, or that even those drugs are meant to treat bad gene pools. It was a total quack statement as an excuse, demonizing and making subhuman the foster children. But expanding on that, as I'm sure you know about the New Freedom Initiative, that in 2006, one of the board members in Ohio released the secret federal documents, that it was a drug company plan. We already knew this, but then we got their internal documents to put half. They said to go from 20% of kids on these drugs to 50% by 2013. And they've already gone up a few percentage points. So this is a marketing thing, but it's even better. It makes them mentally ill, makes them crazy as a you-know-what-house rat.
Right.
And then they get to expand as society goes more and more insane. And as people stab their children to death, murder their neighbors with guns, dress up like Santa Claus, go to a house and burn people down, dress up in Hitler outfits and go to Columbine and shoot everybody. As this happens, they then get to take over our lives. Then the psychologists and psychiatrists start forcing everyone to go through psychological testing. They then force you to get treatment, force you to say you're mentally ill. Then you lose rights. Then more people go on drugs. Then there's more killing. Problem, reaction, solution. They are cold-bloodedly at the top. The low levels don't know this. Engineering this. They know exactly what they're doing. Can you comment on that?
Well, what I want to say is with the foster children, I believe that they're putting them on antidepressants and antipsychotics and benzodiazepines to control behavior, because the foster parents don't want to deal with anything.
Now, they want zombies that'll sit in the cages and not ask for food.
Right.
Because the foster parents only want to take that money and drive the sports car and go to Las Vegas, literally. The kids literally live in little prison facilities and eat maybe one hot dog or two a day and a bologna sandwich and a glass of water. And you're right. They give them antipsychotics, so they literally drool in the corner.
Right. The sad thing, too, about the antidepressants is that after you go on an antidepressant and go insane, instead of taking you off of the antidepressant very, very slowly and explaining to you that you need to exercise and have omega-3 oils and take care of yourself and get social support and get out in the sunshine and do some activities instead of, sitting at home worrying.
Yes.
Instead of doing that, no, they tell you that, you need an antipsychotic or you need a mood stabilizer. So then they make you into a real mental patient. And one of the journal articles we have in SSRI Stories in the Index is that between 1995 and 2004, there were 4.8 million additional bipolar people diagnosed. And that was since 2005, so there's probably at least, I would guess, 10 million people now who have been diagnosed as bipolar, probably, and the majority of them started on antidepressants.
And bipolar means you're up and down, which is exactly what the drugs do. But I have a dog who's up and down. They say children that are excited and running around the classroom are mentally ill. All mammal species, baby whales, baby dolphins, baby monkeys, baby apes, baby, deer, fawns, colts, baby horses, they all jump and kick and they're supposed to build their muscles. They're diagnosing normal behavior as mentally ill because they just want to sell drugs.
Right. Yes, I agree with that. And another thing is, with the children, they do need their recess time. They need plenty of play activity.
Have you heard they're banning recess? Running and jumping and dodgeball and skipping is now banned?
Why?
They say it's aggressive and can lead to fights. And so hugging, shaking hands, high-fiving, or touching is now outlawed. In fact, people don't believe me. Google dodgeball banned, tag banned, shaking hands banned in schools. I want people to see that. CNN, AP, Reuters, on screen, literally training us to be prisoners. This is a psychological dictatorship. Have you read the white papers put out by the eugenicists 80 years ago about how they were going to set this up?
Well, no, I haven't really, but I do know that something terrible is happening because they did a study out of Duke University that showed that exercise for a year, in fact, was better for you than Zoloft. It was more effective. And so they replicated that study at Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, and it was true that people who exercised walked 30, 35 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week, did better than those people in Zoloft. And so
Ma'am, I got to stop you. That's exactly what I was about to bring up next. It's great to talk to somebody who's informed. There are older studies in Russia, China, the United States, England, but you're right. They had one just a few years ago here in Texas done by a major medical center that if somebody will just walk or play golf or start gardening, just getting outside, there's all these studies. You're meant to do manual labor. You're meant to walk a few miles. I mean, for years I got so busy I just quit exercising.
Did you know that soil is actually an antidepressant?
Say that again?
Soil is actually an antidepressant. When you go out to garden, don't wear gloves. Get your hands in the soil because that's the natural antidepressant. And so
I didn't know that.
Sunshine. Yes, sunshine is also an antidepressant.
I knew sunshine was. I knew sunshine through the eyes and the skin. But for those that don't know, there's thousands of studies, scientific fact. That's why in Scandinavian places where it's dark, they have the real bright walls and artificial sunlight indoors because they have the highest suicide rates. That's now been reversed. So yes, the eye stalks, as you know, grow when you're an embryo out of the brain. So the eyes really are the brain. It's the gateway to the soul, as they say. And so they need to have that sunlight. They're designed to do that for hormone levels inside to trigger the different endocrine levels, to trigger the different endorphins for your sex drive, for weight loss, everything. The key is sunlight, but also the skin does it, not just the vitamin A it produces. Go ahead.
Yes. Also to socially interact with people more, really relieve stress and depression as long as you're interacting, especially if you're outside engaging in activities. Like you mentioned, golf or gardening with somebody, or just
you're supposed to sit on your front porch and barbecue and laugh and joke about the neighbor and laugh and joke about yourself. You're meant to go out and work in the fields all day. That's when you're happy. You're not happy watching TV, and you're not happy sitting on your butt, and you're certainly not going to be happy popping Prozac in the Fluorine family.
That's true, and also these omega-3 fatty acids are good for people who are depressed or stressed.
And notice how they say, don't get sun, don't eat fatty acids. All these things they know are essential for us. They tell us not to have them.
Well, I would have people Google omega-3 and find out how they can help these people who claim that they're, feeling depressed or down. Of course, everybody has times when they're stressed and depressed, and some people's lives have more sadness in it than others. But to do all these things, to engage in exercise and to engage in social contact, to get outside in the sun,